Hello everyone, welcome to Red Men TV. It's the build-up show. Liverpool, Manchester City, the Etihad, Sunday 4:30 p.m. kickoff. I am your host Paul Machin. I'm joined by Ross Chanley and by Georgia Stevens for this one as well. Ross, let's just dive straight in, mate. What a gaming prospect this is, and any nerves I had going into the week. We were looking at a tough away game at Atalanta, and obviously followed up by a tough away trip to the Etihad. It still is those things. It still is a massive game. It still is a very difficult game. Still the hardest game of the season by an absolute mile. But I am just so excited for this game now because I think Liverpool's preparations have been outstanding.
Yeah, I'll ask you that question again at 4:00 on Sunday and see how you feel. Yeah. At the 5-0 win obviously helps the fact that we've got people coming back from injury. We've got people that are in form. It's a real nice position to be in, to kind of be spoilt for choice. And I think something that we're still kind of adjusting to. Recent times where we've got an 11 and that's it, and the drop off from the bench is significant. Whereas now I think we're really spoilt for choice. I'm sure we'll get into the conversation about who we'd rather pick. I've had arguments in my own head for the past 10 minutes about who we would pick, but it's a nice problem to have. And City's always huge, and of recent times, maybe not last year, but it's defining in the season, and it's crucial again for Liverpool going into another international break that we can separate ourselves from the pack as it is.
Yeah, I think the notion that Manchester City are dead and buried and finished has been somewhat overstated, Georgia. And I think Ross is absolutely spot on there. In the last 3 seasons, really, these have been the games that have defined who's gone on and won the title. I can't see this being anything other than that, really, at the moment, and it'd be foolish, really, for Liverpool to treat it as anything less than that. This is a huge game. There's an opportunity here for City to close the gap. Obviously, they're 5 points behind us now, albeit with a game in hand. We've got an opportunity to make that game in hand look completely irrelevant, and yeah, that's what we'll all be hoping Liverpool take.
Yeah, I think it's form is crucial in these kind of games of coming into them, because in the sense that it's good to get that confidence and good to have a good kind of roll going. And the fact is both sides have kind of got that going into this game. We're on the back of a 5-0 away win, and City beat Olympiacos last night 3-0. So both sides have basically got the best preparation they could for this game, and I think you're not looking at things properly if you think that this is just going to be it's not that big of a game. City aren't wherever, we're top of the table. It is. It's a crucial game, and it's probably one that we'll see. It's one that you look back in maybe 2 months, 3 months, and you say, wasn't that a big win?
Yeah, it's I just on the City thing, Ross. They're in a false position in the league, I think, or rather, we're about to find out. I think the next sort of month will tell us whether City are in a false position. The 10th. I don't think they're going to finish 10th. So in that regard, they're definitely in a false position. But having that first game of the season against Aston Villa postponed makes a big difference at this point, because the league is so compact. If you gave them those 3 points, they'd be fourth at the moment. Obviously, if you gave the points to Aston Villa, they'd be third, which is also another interesting point. But I think we need to be wary of this idea that Man City aren't at the races at the moment. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus comes back against Olympiacos, scores an absolute belter of a goal as well. This is going to be a dangerous Man City side, but what comes along with it is an opportunity to see whether they are are they the City from 2 seasons ago, or the City from last season, a City that can demolish anyone on the day, but also a City that lost 9 games in the league last year.
Yeah, I'd just give the points to Aston Villa. They're a very good side, Paul. 7-2, I fancy that. Yeah, it's difficult to look at the league table, as you said, because it is so tight, it is so compact, but we're still in the early stage of the season. And I've said this about Liverpool in the past 2 weeks. I think we'll start to see between after the international break and Christmas, the people that will pull away, you're going to start to see a gap form, and I think Manchester City will definitely be within that. It wasn't that long ago that Man City completely destroyed us, and whether we were still hungover or whatever else, like, you can't write them off. They've got Kevin De Bruyne back in the side, fresh from injury as well. He's integral to everything that they do. They're still free scoring goals. Like George says, they're going to be full of confidence in the league and stuff like that. Klopp won't go into it like that. Klopp won't think, Man City attempt this will be a piece of piss. And equally, Man City have got a point to prove. So and Liverpool have as well, obviously. But Man City will want to get more points on the board. They've already dropped points, a lot more points than we have. Yes, they've got a game in hand, but the pressure's on them to not drop any more before they go into international break.
100%. And the point to prove thing's interesting because, yes, City will have a point to prove. You can tell it in how they performed against us after restart, Georgia. Liverpool do have that thing Ross alluded to, that we were all still pissed on Red Carlsberg when we went to Etihad and got absolutely turned over by them. But that should be in the Liverpool players' heads. It should be in their mindsets to say, well, everyone kind of wrote this season off before the last season had even finished because of that result. I'm hoping that lights a real fire in the belly of our players, and that should only contribute towards it being a really, really good game.
Yeah, I mean, City's position's false because they haven't counted the points from that game because that's when the season started and, we'd lost the league. But yeah, like, if the game and the occasion isn't enough, that now any match against Man City is suddenly a big title match. To look back and think last time out against these, we let ourselves down. It was, as much as we all kind of laughed and was like, Trent's still on the lash and on the wing there, but it would have been a lot nicer even just to get a 1-0 over them and be like, even half cut. They've absolutely smashed us. But I think that'll definitely, that'll be the thing that gives that little push as well. And also you've got new lads, you've got Jota coming in there, you've probably got Curtis Jones, who's now got a new point to prove, whoever's playing centre-back. I mean, God knows who we're going to throw there against City. But yeah, I think it will be something that will definitely add just a little bit more of a spark to it.
I think you mentioned the centre-back thing, and we'll come on to the who partners him question after the break, of course. But the Joe Gomez one, I think of all the players who are going to take the field for us, he's probably the one with the biggest point to prove from that game. He was shocking. Sterling absolutely has him on toast in that game. And it was one of the games that really, I think, that kind of kicked off this like little this bubbling under criticism of Joe Gomez's level or performances or whatever kind of does date back to that Etihad game for a lot of people. He's now the main man in Liverpool's defence. He's been pretty good. He's had a couple of kind of like tricky moments, a couple of dodgy moments or what have you, but we'll find out about them. We'll get a good measure of Joe Gomez in this game, I think. If he can come out on top in this game, I feel like Liverpool will come out on top in this game.
Yeah, this is the game that I think, not that it's make or break, because there's a season to go through, and at the end of the day, he's the only solid starter centre back that we've got. So
don't say break.
Yeah, not break. Wrap him in wool. No, it'll be something that I think a lot of people it's an easy marker to judge Joe Gomez by, because it was that last game against City was awful. I mean, for him, it was, who knows whether it was the occasion, whether it was still that bit of beef or whatever with Sterling. Like, there's so much that went into it that he had such a stage to stand up and to do it. Even when we did, we're allowed to get beaten, players have good performances. That was a moment that he could have done that, and he didn't. And he really, that is, I think, when people had evidence for their claims of Joe Gomez isn't ready, and that's what you never really want to do, is give those people evidence. Yeah. And yeah, I think this game will be a chance for those, to put that to bed and to kind of step up and step forward, and hopefully, there is a risk that it goes the other way. He is the main man. That can be completely overwhelming. That can create too much confidence or things like that. But I have faith in him, and I do hope that this is the moment that kind of put everything to bed and shows them in kind of a new light.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you see Liverpool players have been forged in big games like this over the years. So yeah, let's hope that's one for Joe Gomez, certainly. Right, we'll talk about his partner and who that might likely be in a moment. I have a quiz question before we take the break. The question is, and I'm going to have to read this one because I've made this more wordy than I should have done. Pep Guardiola only ever played 2 games as a player against Liverpool. They were back in 2001 on Liverpool's run to winning the UEFA Cup. 2 questions for you from the last game that Pep Guardiola played as a player against us. Who scored the only goal of the game for Liverpool, and who was in goal for Barcelona that night? Yes, check out this advert for our wonderful book, The Champions of Everything, and I'll give you the answer in a few moments' time. The second Redmen TV book, Champions of Everything, is available for sale right now. It comes in 2 editions, the standard edition and the special edition, which comes signed with a custom message of your choice and with a limited edition Redmen TV sticker pack as well. The book is huge. It is A4 size and it is chock full of insight. Photographs from around the world following the mighty Reds, who were reigning European champions, who won the Super Cup, who became champions of the world, and then capped it all off with a 19th league title, becoming champions of England. The book looks at the highs, lows, absolute insanity and bitterness of rival fans, and some of the craziness from our own fan base as well along the way. It is available now on the Redmen TV store. Get involved. There you go. Welcome back. Yes, the Champions of Everything, our book, our second book, is available to buy right now. There's 2 versions. There is the special edition, which is signed and comes with a custom message of your choice, which makes it an ideal Christmas gift. That's available UK only. So yeah, get that sorted now. Very, very limited numbers available of that. If you want it internationally, you get the normal edition, which we've got a few more available, so you should be able to grab one right now. But yeah, do get them boxed ahead of the Christmas rush. Really, really good stuff. It's good fun. I'm made up with the feedback we've had from it so far. It's I think football books can be a little dry at times. This is not that football book. It is very much an irreverent look back at a phenomenal season from the mighty Reds. Right. Yes, Ross, the question was who scored Liverpool's goal and who was in goal for Barcelona the last time Pep Guardiola faced Liverpool as a player. He said to me in the break, you got 2 ideas for this?
Yeah, Danny Murphy and Victor Valdez.
Incorrect on both counts. Georgia?
Pass. Ross can have another go.
How old were you in 2001, Georgia?
I was. Wait, what date was it? What roughly? Was it before, like June, after?
April.
I wasn't 1 yet.
Amazing. There we go. Okay, well, you can get a pass for that. That makes me feel terrible. I was in town watching that game. The goal scorer for Liverpool was, of course, Gary McAllister.
Close.
Yeah.
British and bold.
And in goal for Barcelona was not Victor Valdez, although it's a very solid shout. It was Pepe Reina.
Spanish. Wow. It was close.
There you go. Okay, yes, Ross. Joel Matip, we know he was back in full training ahead of the Atalanta game. Anything could have happened between then and the kickoff of this game. But look, the overriding feeling is, he was on the bench. Make sure that he's ready for this game. We'll have Nat Phillips there. We'll have Reece Williams there, both of whom have had really, really good, encouraging performances for us. But look, given the choice, we'd be doing everything in our power to make sure that it's Matip and Gomez starting this game.
Yeah, that's ideal, isn't it? I think poor Joe Gomez has had more partners than Katie Price so far this season. It's just like I feel so sorry for him. But and again, that's not talked about enough. The fact that he's had those Nat Phillips, Reece Williams, Fabinho, Joel Matip, and he's still done relatively well. It's very hard to set that partnership to kind of draw anything up. I think you're more tempted to go for Joel Matip in the sense of Man City's a different kettle of fish. Mm-hmm. And I think experience and now, so there's no discredit to Nat Phillips or Reece Williams because I think they did an incredible job when they've stepped up. But Matip's been here before. Matip's played Manchester City. Matip's got that experience that I think's required. I think it also helps in that understanding for Joe Gomez and maybe ease some of the expectations. I think Georgia was talking about before of I don't think it's necessarily all on Joe Gomez if Joel Matip starts. Yeah, so I'd tempted to him, and that's not discrediting Nat Phillips or Reece Williams. It's just that's your preference. I was slightly concerned last night the fact that because we were so far ahead in the Atlanta game that Matip didn't play 20 minutes, 15 minutes, or half an hour, something like that, just to match fitness, just to get him back in and ease into it. I was quite shocked, but also we've joked about it, but you have to be careful of the fact that you could put him for half an hour and it could be out for another 4 weeks. That's the risk that you're taking.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Joel Matip, is that at least he's generally speaking quite good when he gets thrown into isolated games. As I look at who else we needed, Trent and Robbo are going to need rests at some point. We gave them a little bit of a rest by taking them off, and we got some minutes in Shimikas, that's going to be proven very, very useful, I think, post international break, not necessarily for this game. But the centre back thing is there's just not an ideal circumstance. The ideal circumstance at the moment, because we just can't have Virgil van Dijk at all, George. It has to be Matip in, because there are two centre halves. There are two senior centre halves. There's no decision to be made. If he's fit, Matip goes in, and if he's not, it's a massive conundrum for the manager, because Nat Phillips does really well against West Ham, but facing Haller or facing Gabriel Jesus, Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez is not the same game. Kevin De Bruyne running that, yeah. I don't think it's the game for Nat Phillips. I think that there are games where you can use Nat Phillips, and that's absolutely fine. And I think he'll do well in those games. And it might well be a game for Reece Williams. I think he would get the nod otherwise. But again, he's a young lad. You run the risk of absolutely devastating him. So I'm saying, if we have to use either of them, we'll just have no choice but to use them. But I don't think personally I would be choosing to use them. I would rather Matip risk another month out with injury to get him through this game than use any of the other options we've got.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I was concerned that maybe, Matip wouldn't be match fit, like you said. Like, it's a whole different thing being fit and being sharp and ready for the game. And there is that concern if you're going into probably one of the biggest games of the season, having not played for God knows how long, in a solid 90 minutes. That being said, I would trust Matip more to understand what he's stepping into than Reece Williams or Nat Phillips. Again, though, like you said, I think Reece Williams is probably more likely to get a nod just because of the sheer pace of that front line, and I think he's probably edging a bit more than Nat Phillips of being able to do that. And by all accounts, he's, like you said, in the game last night, he didn't look, you didn't notice him, and that is what is a massive compliment for a young player stepping into a world-class team, is he didn't look out of place at all. There was no major slip-ups. He held the line well. He did remarkably well to step up and to do that counter, to do that offside trap. And yeah, I think if Matip isn't fit, then it is Reece Williams. I think that's the step. Although it sounds crazy to start a teenager against Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, but I also wouldn't be surprised. Let's try James Milner in there. Let's give him. Let's tick all the boxes. That's a position he hasn't played recently.
Yeah, get Genie back in there. Yeah, the other big talking point is going to be Diogo Jota, Ross, and what a wonderful conundrum for us to have. Jurgen Klopp was very, very keen post match at Atalanta, the press conference, to stress his love and support for Bobby Firmino. I think he was a bit wound up with the notion that Jota's now replaced Firmino, or Firmino's done, or Firmino he's dead and buried as a Liverpool player. It wouldn't shock me if Jota starts, but also my strong feeling is I think if Jota starts, it'll be part of a 4. I don't see anywhere where Bobby Firmino doesn't start this game for us.
No, and he cited how integral he was and how integral he has been for Liverpool. We've said for God knows how long that Bobby is the system. I don't think there's, funny enough, the language that people are using to describe Bobby Firmino at the minute, I don't agree with that at all. I think it's fair enough to give the lad a rest. He's played a hell of a lot of football in recent weeks, and this thing of just drop him, or Jota's class. Jota's put himself in the conversation. Let's be honest. His goal return is exceptional. The way that he's playing, the way that he's fitted in, he's not overwrought by anything. He's getting on. He's got a rapport with his teammates. My ideal situation would be to, like you said, would to play a 4. And in the absence of Chris Page, I go 4-2-3-1, and I put Bobby in the 10, because he can do all that. dogged work of, tracking back and helping out the midfield, and he's still got that link-up play. And I think, that Atlanta game might have suited Bobby a bit more. There was bags of space, the way that Atlanta set up. And, in recent games, played Sheffield United, West Ham, Midtjylland, all teams that have put 10 men behind the ball, and then Jota's come in and he just absolutely pissed it because he's found himself. He's 10 yards wherever he was.
Yeah.
City, I expect City to be a bit more expansive, a bit more like Atalanta. They're confident, they're at home, they play free-flowing football. Bobby has to start for me. I think there's no harm doing that, and he's had a rest as well. Whether it's enough of a rest, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he'll have the bit between his teeth to say, "Listen, I'm still capable of performing."
It doesn't. It's just not a problem if he starts. That's the good thing, George. Is you start Bobby Firmino, and you put Jota on the bench. Well, you've got Jota on the bench. You might have Shaqiri on the bench again, and we saw this the other week. Hopefully you're not in a situation where you're looking, you're chasing a way to break through a side or whatever. I don't think since you're not going to park the bus at home. So you're right. Ross is right. It should just be a bit more of an open game of footy. But I think this could be a bit of a war of attrition if particularly away from home. We saw this when we beat them in the Champions League. We had to resist a lot of pressure. But then we come out of our shell in the second half and break them down. Having someone like Jota there, who's in that form, who carries that bit of fear factor with him, to be able to go, right, here you go, half an hour, 20 minutes, when maybe, City and their defence hasn't been great, and you've got new players coming in who are, you're either going to be using some tried and tested players, like a John Stones, who's maybe carries who's a bit jaded and carries a bit of fear with himself, or, they're still getting Ake into that side, they're bringing in the other new signings. Get Jota in to shit them up. I think that's it's win-win. I think really whatever he chooses to do.
Definitely, I think if we start Jota and Bobby's on the bench, I don't know. It is what it is. I mean, I just don't see Bobby not starting this game, like Ross said. Yeah. I'd love to see him in the 10 again because I absolutely adore Bobby Firmino as a 10. I do think I think he's great in that role, and if that's a role that he adopts going forward, you say as you get older, like you move further back the pitch, I'd absolutely love to see him in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting, Ross.
Just from Diogo Jota's point of view, I think he'd be really annoyed if he didn't start this game, to be perfectly honest. Been away to Atlanta, back to hat-trick. If you're not in the conversation to start the game on Sunday, Bobby Firmino or not, I think he's within his rights to be pretty pissed off. There's nothing else that he could do, whether it's down to system or style of play, or the fact you're going to have to cover your fullbacks a bit more, and maybe go with the Brexit midfield. I don't know, and he loses his place that way. It's all good saying being played into four, but he's scoring hat-tricks. But I think you have to look at the bigger picture and the opposition that you're playing. Like 4-2-3-1 with those four going forward is great in my head. But, tactically, does that make sense against an attacking side in Manchester City? Yeah,
and of course, the other things they'll be hoping for in this game is fingers crossed Thiago's fit to be involved in this game, because that could be that could make a difference, a complete difference to what formation we play. We've had a great deal of success with 4-3-3 against Manchester City, so I can't see us changing it, because I think when you play 4-2-3-1, you see a little bit in midfield, and this might be a game. Midfield is where we tend to win these games. With no Fabinho available, which is a massive blow. Obviously, John Henderson's going to play the 6, and it's then down to what we do around it. What are we looking for? Are we looking for combative, or do we need a bit more drive? Naby Keita being back would help us very much in that, and obviously, ideally in an ideal way that it's Thiago, you want to see your best players unleashed in the biggest games. So we'll have to see what we do there. Let us know actually in the comments what would you prefer to see from Liverpool, 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and what would be your ideal starting 11. I will be doing the starting 11 prediction once again on Thursday afternoon. I look forward to that. I do not. It's going to be a tough one once again. Right, let's have some score predictions from you guys. Georgia, what do you think?
2-0 Liverpool. I think we keep that clean sheet.
Okay, fantastic. Ross?
2-1.
Oh.
Is Aguero back? Because he's supposed to be out for a month, and
I don't believe so. But yeah, you just never know, do you?
2-1 if Aguero plays, then if he doesn't, 2-0.
Okay, sad. 4-3 to Liverpool. Mad game of footy. Yeah, why not? Yeah, there we go. Score predictions in the comments below. Do drop a like on this as well. And we have got our fantastic, our world famous RevMen TV Christmas sweatshirts are now available. Get your orders in right now. The designs are absolutely first rate once again. We'll give you a little tease of what they look like in a minute, but yeah, get them. Get involved with them and get them ordered quickly because, demand is high, and the sooner you get them ordered, the quicker you will have them. But other than that, yes, we will be back with the starting 11 prediction Thursday afternoon, and then we'll be back with a watch-along for this game as well. An hour and 10 minutes before kickoff for the team news reveal, and then we'll be back 15 minutes before kickoff doing a commentary for the entire match. Always a good laugh. Do tune in for that one. Make sure you click the notification bell next to the subscribe button to be notified when we go live, and we shall see you there.